It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast. With Kyle.
So now you want to start a league and use the Zach for that. So, you know, when Cindy the widow...
Cindy has moved on.
Oh, God, she died too?
No, she has moved on.
Oh, my God. Rest in peace, Cindy. Die of a broken heart. You know what they say, Steve. It's worse than cancer.
And Steve.
Speaking of Twitter, very quickly, I wanted to mention, he's more my friend than yours because he agrees with me on everything. My new best friend, Travis Branch.
Oh, yeah? What did that loser say? So mean. Travis has never been anything but wonderful to us.
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
Melissa Vaughn.
Boy, I do love, there's a certain joy that enters my heart every time I get to dig into the Wayback Machine. with those intros.
That was from a long time ago. Talking about my former neighbor, Cindy.
Yep, buried in the backyard, if I remember right.
No,
we lost her.
As far as I know, still very much alive. Granted, I haven't seen her since they moved out a year and a half ago.
You know what they say.
No, I don't know what they say, but I'm looking forward to hearing what they say.
I haven't seen him in a year. They're probably dead.
Oh. A lot of people I know are dead then.
Sorry to Brother Mike.
Oh, yeah. It's been a year and a half. He's probably been dead and alive again. And dead again.
Now, we're not planning on pulling back the curtain, but speaking of Brother Mike and family, you and Annette and little Evelyn.
Yeah.
How old's Evelyn now, by the way?
She's 21 months yesterday.
You guys are taking a little trip back to the motherland.
We are. Going to Italy.
Headed to Sicily. Or not Sicily. Is it Sicily?
In Italy? Sicily is in Italy.
That's what I mean. Okay,
I have no idea where... I'm bad with knowing my family's history. I have no idea where they're from.
Well, we're already getting terribly sidetracked. But what percentage are you Italian? Where does the Italian on your family come from?
I am 25% Italian because I get that from my mom's side.
Okay.
My mom's mom
came from Italy.
Well, her parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know how far you'd gone back if you'd done the ancestry thing to see.
No, I think
when your family migrated from Italy.
I think my uncle has done a good amount of the ancestry for that side of the family. My dad has a ton for his side of the family.
Okay.
Back to the 1500s.
It was probably a little bit more for your mom then, but is there any part of you outside of the idea of Italy being, a destination travel spot?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any part of you that thinks I'd like to go there for heritage reasons?
I've been to Italy before.
Was it your abroad?
Yeah, I was there when in 2001 when I did a semester abroad. I was in London, and we had a 10-day mid-fall semester break.
Cool.
And we bought a flight to Rome and a flight back from Rome.
Wow. And
then we had a 10-day rail pass. And all we did, we knew where we were staying the first, I think, 3 nights, and then we left the rest of it just up in the air.
My God,
it was amazing.
When you think about it, you were so early 20s person from the movies.
Yeah.
Where it was all like, oh, no, man, I'm just going to backpack in Europe.
See where the rails take me.
Yeah, you can't hold me down, and I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
But that, obviously not to that extent because you were over there for school, but that, it feels like you had that,
school
was it Wanderlust?
Yeah, school was definitely second priority.
While you were over there?
But they kind of told us that that's how it should be. Okay. They're like, look, you're away from home. You may never get to do this again, which so far, true.
Yeah.
I mean, that was half my lifetime ago.
Well, I think that was evident, though, when you said there was the concerted effort to drink a beer a day.
Yeah.
At the pub below your apartment or below your residence. So
I lived in Oliver Hall at Regent's College at the time, now Regent's University. But we would walk down the hallway, down a couple flights of steps, walk through the refectory, which was like the dining hall type area, cut through a couple hallways, down another flight of steps, you're in the pub.
Are you going to be
amazing?
That dad who in 20 years, or not 20 years, I apologize, 17 years,
yeah,
who was like trying to show little Evelyn around Monmouth or the place you stayed in Italy on a family vacation?
Oh, Italy, I would have no idea where where
you
we
wouldn't
stayed.
Remember. All right,
no,
I'm sorry. I mean,
we stayed. Yeah, we stayed at various hostels, all around Italy, in Rome, Florence, Venice. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. But yeah, I would definitely take her to Regent's. That would be amazing if we got to do like a family trip.
Yeah,
to go to London.
It'd be right out of a movie where the daughter obviously doesn't care.
Couldn't care less.
Because, oh great, Dad's going down memory lane for memories I don't care about.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to go, see all the cool spots in the year,
Big Ben, Parliament.
2040 or whatever.
Yep.
And
like, where's the lunar lander moonshot base where you can hop on there and then you're teleported right to the moon?
That's right. Where's my fancy shoes where I do a quick jump over the ocean, so I can go home? I'm assuming that's where we'll be, right?
Yeah, definitely.
17 years or so. But has that struck you at all? The idea to go explore your heritage a little bit in Italy, the motherland?
A little bit. My mom and my sister have gone.
That was my next question. Is it because I think the closer you are to that generation that left there, you're more curious a little bit, about where did my kind of direct ancestors, because she's probably to the point where she remembers maybe very, very vaguely a relative who may have come over from there.
Yeah, I think so. And when they went over there, they went when my grandmother was still alive. I think it was probably about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. They went over there and stayed with family. Like, there's family over there, and welcomed them in with open arms. Mm-hmm. My uncle speaks pretty good Italian, so he was kind of the translator the whole time they were there. But a lot of them also spoke English to an extent, and I regret not going, because originally I was planning on going with them, and then I don't remember why I ended up not going, because I would have been working by then, so I'm sure that it wouldn't have been super easy for me to get 2 weeks off or whatever they did. And but I remember them saying that I guess the relatives over there own like a spa.
Oh,
so they have a very big like house, or I don't know, but everybody stayed there. Yeah, a very big like compound almost. And they said that they sat down to eat dinner, and it was just course after course after course after course of like the most incredible food ever. And then at one point they kind of cleared the table off, and they rolled out like a big piece of brown like parchment type paper, and they basically went around the room and drew a family tree just right on the table. It was like, okay, well, you're this person, and you go here, and you go here. And they were just like connecting all of the dots to figure out exactly how everybody was related.
Sure. Man, that fits the bill of everything you've read about, is
exactly
course after course after course. And I imagine
welcoming them in with open arms. Like, we have no idea who you are. You say you're family. All right, come on in.
Could be, could not be, doesn't matter. You're family now, type of thing.
Yeah. So my uncle keeps in touch with. It must be like his, I don't know, third cousin or something like that.
If you ever go, because you're far enough down the line, it's not like you're ingratiated with that Italian culture, right? Like,
somewhat. I mean, like growing up, if we were doing holidays with my mom's side of the family, like that's the Italian side of the family. So everything was like at Christmas, they would do the Feast of the Seven Fishes. And, pasta for everything. It 100%. The other side of my family, my dad's side, is primarily Irish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the complete opposite, because you think like the Irish, it's like they feel like they're still going through the potato famine. So it's
so it's like one piece of bread, and if you go for a second, you're getting your hand slapped.
It was always I remember going, like, I go to my grandmother, like grandmom and grandpa, my mom's parents. I mean, the meals there, that side of the family, it was like, a 39-pound Thanksgiving turkey and just like sides and dishes and this and that and more food than you can ever imagine. And then we go to my nanny and pop-up, my dad's parents, and it was like, okay, there's 8 of us there. There's a 7-pound turkey, and it's like, like picking the meat off the bone, like, and it wasn't. I don't mean to make it sound bad or anything, because it was very good, but it was like, it was just, they made exactly what they needed, and ate that, and they were good. Yeah. Whereas the Italian side, you're barfing, but you're still eating because you haven't tried all the courses yet.
Man,
it's just that excess.
I mean, we honest to goodness do not have the time, because I could have 1 million questions about the 7 fishes.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to answer them. I'd have to get my brother or my sister on the phone.
Did you ever? I mean, you said that happened. Were you there? Do you remember eating it though? Do you remember?
I remember the smell. And I'm not a big seafood person at all.
Yeah, that's why I was going to ask.
I like shrimp.
Yeah. Popcorn variety.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Coconut.
Of course. The main 2 shrimps.
Right.
And then the third, and not as often, teriyaki.
Yeah. I do shrimp, but even back then I wasn't a big shrimp fan. Tuna fish, bumblebee preferably.
Sure.
Maybe chicken of the sea.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 2 weeks, I've discovered that I love salmon.
Okay.
But back then, I hated it. All I remember is that the house would smell like garbage, and I'd be starving because there would be nothing to eat.
You a calamari guy?
No.
I'm still at a stage in my life, and I've never enjoyed it, where if I am at a restaurant and somebody else within the vicinity orders calamari.
By the way, it's galamad.
Sorry. I mean, this is where I show my idiocy.
Come on. You've seen The Sopranos. Galamad.
My night's almost ruined. The smell is so overwhelming.
Yeah. And at first you see it and you're like, oh, it's deep fried. It looks like kind of like an onion ring.
Sure.
Little. But but that also doesn't appeal to me because I don't really like onion rings.
Let's get it on the books. Let's maybe next week see if we can get Brother Mike on, because I would like to ask him about the 7 Fishes dinner.
Yeah.
If he remembers anything further.
Oh, I know exactly what he's going to remember about it.
Probably more than you, like you said. You said he probably knows more than you do already now.
Yeah. I don't know. Should I tell you what I know he's going to remember?
I kind of like the reveal as it happens.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll write it down and I'll slide it across to you.
Yeah. Okay. Because I also want to ask him the same line of questioning I asked you regarding the Italian heritage, because if I were to look at the two of you side by side, the way you dress, like the way, even little things, like the way Mike does his hair, things like that, it feels like he got, a percentage more of the Italian genetics than you did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have features that more resemble my dad.
And what about your sister? Where does she fall in line in terms of the heritage, and how does she?
Her hair is about my color.
Okay.
So, yeah, kind of in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, let's get it on the books. I'd like to talk to Brother Mike next week, if we can.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be 2 weeks. By the way, it is Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, the year of our Lord. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast. An episode was just released 8 8 hours ago today.
Yeah.
And you're going to be away. I'm going to be away. Right. So we're doing a quick turnaround. We just recorded 2 days ago.
Yeah, and this is one of those going aways where usually we can make it work. Usually there's never a real issue in terms of too much. Sometimes we'll record a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday, which inconvenient, sure, but it's not a deal breaker. I think I'm coming back the day after you were leaving for about a week.
Because you're leaving on Thursday and coming back, on Sunday?
On Sunday.
We're leaving on Sunday and coming back on Thursday.
Yeah. So outside of...
Ships passing.
Outside of skipping content, which we've only done with a boo-boo.
Exactly.
In the last 45 years.
Yeah.
We decided to keep the train a-moving.
Yeah.
With the elusive Tuesday night.
I can't imagine there's been many of them.
Recording, and it's already been a little bit of a trip down memory lane as you remember your heritage. Well, this is almost perfectly fitting for what we talked about on the episode, and I'll say last week, even though it was released today.
Yeah. Because
we did an extensive look back on my time podcasting while I was a member of, or not a member, but as an intern and an employee for the Sidekick.
Member, yeah. You were getting paid.
I was an employee.
You were a paid employee.
That's right. And we played some audio bits of some of my time on, I believe, A Little Off Topic.
Yep.
And I mentioned that I'd done A Little Off Topic and Riding the Pine, both in different formats and with different people. That was it for me.
I could have sworn there was a third one.
You know what I really wish, and I mean, they're lost to the ether at this point, those intern views. And we'll talk about those here in a few minutes. I did 2 of them.
Hold on. I have to pause for 1 minute. I have your old podcasts.
Oh, you do? Where would those be?
I know for a fact I have them all. I have a backup of every podcast back to 2009.
Oh,
that
wow.
just popped in my head. If you can get me dates.
Oh, yeesh.
I mean,
well,
even
it would be most Saturdays.
It would be
in
Saturdays.
2010 and 2011. Yeah, I'll dig some up because to listen back to those first efforts.
Yeah.
First efforts. I mean, the ones I were playing were middle of the way. That was like
you're gonna get.
That was the top of the roller coaster.
You'll get to complete the box set. Maybe we could release them as bonus.
But I did some intern views. I did 2. I remember them perfectly.
You did intern views?
And I remember my goal walking into that booth both times. It was, don't try to be good. Just don't be bad. I wanted to make the most...
Did they ever get played?
No, because mission accomplished.
Oh, nice.
2 decent-sized interviews.
Who'd you talk to?
I talked to Joan Rivers.
Wow.
And Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
I would I mean, those... And that why I said that is those have to be lost to the ether. Those are gone.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, there's been...
let me do I'll pull up the...
Because there's been so much transitions in terms of where you guys store your stuff. Mm-hmm. And back then it felt like there was probably a server room of CDs right. where all of the audio was held. And the reason I bring those up and my internship and my old podcasts is because that kind of spurred me to look back at talking to someone who was a part of that time.
Yeah.
Now, this is someone I haven't spoken to in years, maybe 10 years.
Yeah, I think the last time I interacted with this person, I remember getting a text from him completely out of the blue when I was at a hockey game. And I guess he was watching the hockey game online.
Okay, and he saw you.
And saw me. Yeah, no it was like during a commercial break or during a stoppage, they kind of like panned the crowd, and he's like, and I just got a text. My phone buzzed. He's like, "Hey, man, you at the game?"
Now,
and that was, I mean, that had to be 7-8 years ago.
This person and I were interns at the same time.
Yeah,
similar. He didn't start with me. He started around after me. And I mean, obviously, I'm selfish. But for my count, that was the golden age for interns on the Sidekick.
It was. I was thinking back about that, and that was the era of the nickname.
It was.
Everyone had a nickname.
Never endearing. I mean, in case you're wondering, it was not a question of handsome guy Rick. Or whatever being a nickname. No.
I mean, you had Ben or Crombie.
Yes.
But that was before you.
Yeah.
Because that would have been 07, 08, probably.
So I happened to stumble upon something on this person's Instagram. He's taken a bit of a different path in life, so reached out, and he was more than happy. So today, we're going to have a little catch-up, Steve, with formerly known as Purple Heart Matt.
Yeah. Now, Matt, a former intern of the Free Beer and Hot Wings show, the side gig, served in the Army.
Yes.
Received a Purple Heart for his service, came back,
and then was reduced to
took a major step down.
Was reduced to doing humiliating stunts in the name of radio, which we all were. I don't care. It was part of the fun that we all had there.
That was the era.
So, Steve, I think it's time. Let's see if we can get a hold of here and maybe catch up with Purple Heart Matt.
All right.
Oh, video, Steve.
Off to a hot start, Purple Heart Matt.
I didn't think this was going to be video. Oh, boy.
Well, it's just easier to see you. I do appreciate how I texted you, Matt, FaceTime, and you opened your phone and said, video, like a caveman who first found fire.
Yeah. We are not recording yet, are we?
Oh, yeah. No, man. This is all off the cuff. This is the good stuff. This is what everybody wants to hear, man.
All right. Well, excellent. Good to know.
No, we're just recording audio. Don't worry. You don't have to go put your face on or anything.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
So tell us a joke, funny man.
A joke. My life. My law career. My attempt at representing people on the record. No. It's been interesting, you know.
So we were just talking about how you served our country. You received a Purple Heart for your service.
Yep.
You came back. You took a bit of a dive down, way down, to the status of intern on a radio show. 2 hours away from where you lived, so that was a bit of a drive every day for you.
Yeah, I wanted to get into radio and thought, what better way to do it than for free and 2.5 hours away. So every morning that I had to work, I'd leave my house at 2 a.m. and drive through the night, the morning, and do a free show. I mean, I had a blast. It was a great time for sure.
Tell me, what year, was that, like 2011, 2010?
It was 2011, yeah. I got out of the Army end of 2010, and that just started the next summer. And
what do you remember? Because we were all kind of subjected to different stunts that either we had to do ourselves or that we had to be a part of when one of his fellow monkeys would be out there doing some hijinks on the road.
Right.
Do you remember any that particularly stuck with you, whether it be embarrassment or just super funny that you were present for?
So I mean, just a common theme of embarrassment that I got quite a bit of was just, you hear like Purple Heart Matt, military veteran, whatever, you're probably expecting, I mean, not a physical specimen, but just more than what I brought to the table. There was a lot of, weight commentary at the time. I mean, I ballooned up to like 280. I lost quite a bit of weight recently, but, for a while there, I was pretty fat. So that was just like an overall theme of embarrassment that I got a pretty good dose of. My favorite part, though, I remember we did that bigger, better, best trade up stunt, I think, where the interns got sent out with like a dumb whatever, and you had to like just go up to a stranger and go, "Hey, give me something instead of this."
Yeah, it was based off of
the red paper.
It was
clip.
based off of one red paper clip. The person who traded, I think, a paper clip, and then over the course of a couple of years, they ended up getting a house. So they just do, like, I'll give you that paper clip for this cup. All right, now I got a cup. Well, I'll take a cup and I'll get a box of, a carton of cigarettes or something, and then just keep trading.
Yeah, and I don't remember which intern it was that ended up winning, but somebody went out and they were so smart about it. They went to the Founders Brewery and came back with 2 cases of beer. I remember Joe losing his mind, bouncing up and down. I was like, they win! That's the winner! And I had like some dumb, like, an iPhone charger or something, and I was like, if anyone's getting a little low on juice, I can help you out here, I guess.
I do remember who that was. That was Nader Tot.
Nader Tot won with the beer.
Yep, Nader Tot came in because I can still, to this day, see the grin on his face and the maniacal laughter as he kicked the door to the studio open, walked in with 2 cases of beer. His eyes are wide. And he's, he was insanely excited about it.
Now, what do you remember? Now, you were there for what? Typically, it was a semester. Were you there for 6 months, a year?
Yeah, I did like a 6 months-ish, like spring in through the end of summer, probably.
Mm-hmm. Now, we were talking last week here and a little bit today even about the time that we recorded podcasts. Now, you were a part of a little off topic for a while. Yeah. We listened back to a few minutes of it last week.
Old, I'm sure.
Matt, I got to tell you, we got to scrub it from the internet, man. It's so bad.
Don't worry. The internet has scrubbed it for you.
Yeah, that's right. The internet is doing our work for us and removing it based on lack of interest. Do you remember anything about that?
I remember it being sporadic and random. It was fun. A lot of just dicking around mostly. Sorry, I don't know if we're keeping this clean.
That's fine.
Do what you need.
But it was fun. I remember we had the intro cut by the guy. He was an instructor at my radio school.
That's right. Leno Kelly, Golden Throat himself, was recording liners for us.
So it was almost semi-professional. We did okay, I guess, for a first time. I don't remember any theme or topic other than it just being a little off topic. So
no, it fit the bill. And I remember when we started this, and I don't believe you were a part of the very first incarnation, but I remember telling, Greg and Steve and whoever would listen that it's going to be a little off topic. And the resounding reply was like a shake of the head. Terrible name. Terrible. And I stand by it. I think it's a pretty good name.
Yeah, it definitely sets you up for what it was.
No question.
Zero expectations.
Yeah.
Or I guess all expectations.
Well, and I think what we didn't realize at that time, Matt, was in 2010, 2011, the world needed a handful of mid-20s white dudes to give opinions on stuff. And we were there to fill the void.
Yeah, I just, we had things figured out, and we were like, let us share our wisdom. We've got a combined, 60 years of experience here. So, we'll just tell you the way of the world and how it should be.
We've got a combined 60 years and 3 microphones in a corner booth. Right. Let us have it.
Yeah, and your years of experience aren't in any specified field. It's just simply being alive.
Yeah. But listen, for a while there, if anybody would have given us any grief, said, hey, this show sucks, we would have asked them, why do you hate our veterans?
Yeah, which is always a fun spot to be in when you're the veteran they're presented. Justify your displeasure for me, please.
You're a nice prop, so that way nobody could really look you in the eye and say, I don't like you, because that would be, the least American thing ever.
That's the best part, being the prop. We talked about being a failed attorney or whatever. So when I couldn't do that, I was like, well, I'll go recruit attorneys. So I was doing attorney recruiting for a little while. And I had this weird boss who, for some reason, would try to leverage my veteran status to close a sale. And he'd be like, yeah, this guy, he's even got 4 fingers. Check this out. We call him High 4 around the office. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? And so I'm at a lunch sticking my hand up to this polite Midwestern woman who works in a law office, and she's like, oh, well, that's just something. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm like, I'm sorry this is happening to all of us. I want to die right now.
What? So we need you to kind of fill in the last decade or so, because I remember after you left, after your internship ended, I believe that did you get a radio job very briefly or something like that, or there was the prospect of you getting a radio job?
So I was going to. I was married, so I've gotten divorced since then and everything. And I had one job offer. I don't even remember what station it was at. I don't know if they even told me at the radio school, but it was up north doing overnights for minimum wage or whatever. And I was like, I can't do this. And I understand that's how radio works. So I was like, all right, I got to do something else. So I went back to school mostly just so I could keep getting my GI Bill money. I didn't really have any interest in it, but
Right.
it was an easy way to keep money coming in. And at first I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. That's probably something I could do. And after like a year of biology classes and a 2-point GPA, I was like, this is a dumb idea. So I switched my major to political science, finished that, went to law school. Barely graduated. I talked to 0 lawyers before going to law school. I just had a career counselor who was like, hey, because you got wounded, we'll pay for it. And I was like, all right, sure, why not? And found out I'm not cut out to be a lawyer. I just don't like it. It's not the work environment for me. I didn't even pass the bar. I missed it by like 5 points. But I was working as a public defender for a little bit in law school. In Michigan, you can work in some settings as a lawyer, just as long as you're in law school and have a lawyer supervisor. So if you're poor enough, you'll get a C student who's in their last year of law school to represent you for your felony. And
that's very
yeah, imagine
very reassuring. Very reassuring.
So there are definitely times where I walked in and they were like, wait, you're my lawyer? And I'm like, I feel the same way about this, man. We're going to get through it. You're probably going to go to the jail at the end of it. But,
it's good to know the system works for everyone, man.
All right, so let's see. Now, I feel like in TV and movies, lawyers always talk about like their record. Do you know what your record is?
Oh, and whatever, how many files I had.
You didn't win one, huh?
No, I mean, it was public defense in Ypsilanti and stuff, so, like, a lot of, like, they got arrested with the meth in their hand type stuff, where I'm like, we're not defending this, we're just mitigating here.
You're just trying to get them out.
Time. Yeah. So one guy, he wanted me to use the not my pants defense, and I was like, that doesn't keep the gun from being your possession. I don't care that you borrowed the pants. You knew there was a gun in there. Dude.
Sure.
So, yeah, a lot of that. And I was like, all right, this isn't for me.
So you did you enjoy it at all? Or was it just like dread from the start?
It was okay. I liked the interacting with people part, even, your clients and stuff, where sometimes you're like, well, you're insane, but I'm glad I got to meet you. You're just an interesting person.
Now, you see in TV shows and stuff, Matt, where, you kind of wait in court and there's a bunch of people who are about to be charged with something and they get randomly. Was that something you were a part of?
Every day we did what we called roll call, where I would leave my office with a stack of files who were my new clients, and I'd go into the court. The docket starts at 1. I'm there at 1:45 going, all right, Williams, where you at? Hey, I'm your lawyer. We'll go talk for 5 minutes outside. How long you cool with doing here, man? I think I can get us. I plead to 1. I can get us to dismiss 1. 6 months. How's that sound? All right, sure. Like, that's the level of defense going on.
Wow.
Now,
but you know all the lingo. At least you know all the lingo now.
Yeah, I can make it sound good, and at least, like, when I watch movies, I'm like, oh, that's not the way they do it. But, like, that's the extent of my involvement in the legal system.
But is there a decent chance that as you sit here and denigrate what you did while you got your degree and helped people in the public defender's office, is there a chance that there's someone out there who's like, man, I forgot his name, but it's the best lawyer you'll ever have. He got me off with 3 months in parole for a year or whatever. I gotta get his name. He'll help you. And it was you.
There's this drunk that I got off of a DUI charge on a technicality. He's just going around drumming up business for a lawyer who doesn't exist. No, I wish I had a good story like that, where it was one where, like, I pulled a rabbit out of my hat and was like, they're never gonna see me coming. But every time, it was just a massacre. Like, it's so one-sided.
Like, it's just like Matt's law career was like the easiest game of whack-a-mole. Like, the mole's broke. He's slowly coming up thinking, I've got him this time. I'm going to get my client off.
I don't have a single story like that for any lawyer I worked with, where we were like, like, the whole office was like, you really nailed that. Like, everyone went to jail. So, like, that's just... That's the way it is.
Wait, it's a real commercial for that firm that you worked for.
It was the public defender. We know.
So was the office a lot of people in your same scenario? Kind of not the top of the class, but still trying to grind it out, and then ended up hating it, or were there people who were?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it is something that a lot of people get into out of almost necessity and develop a passion for it. Some people definitely go into it with the intention, but Most people don't go work for the public defender at a law school
Right.
if you have other options. It's just not glamorous. There's no money in it. It's not fun. But some people are really good at it, and we need those people, but I am not one.
So how long did that job last then?
About 6 months. You know,
Okay.
It wasn't very long. It was just it's something you do in your third year of law school. And so I did that and then wrote it out through graduation and stopped just before the bar. And that's typical for most of the people there. But they had some attorneys that had been there for like 20 years that did a lot of good work. And then there were some attorneys that were like, I think you're drinking on the job and representing people. But hey, man, it's cool.
Did you want to pass the bar?
I don't think so, because I think if I did, I probably would have. I put very little effort into it and still came kind of close. But I don't know. Once I like really realized what being a lawyer was like, I think I just kind of checked out from it and was just like coasting to get through school. And then like it came point to take the bar, and I was like, well, I guess I got to. It's, you know, the next thing to do. But I just didn't really try. So I think if I wanted to, I would have. But I don't know. I haven't taken it again. That was in 2018. So
how many years
that's done.
Were you in school then in total for just to be a lawyer?
Sure. So I did like a speed run because I went through summers too, and it was 6 calendar years. Usually it's 7, but yeah, it was brutal.
Oh,
That all seems awful.
A lot of time to get a degree that I'm not going to use. But
So in terms of like the chance you gave it though, you spent 6 years. You did that time in the public defender's office. Now you didn't take the bar. So did you work at any law office after that?
Yeah, so that's what I've been kind of doing since then. They call it like JD preferred. So I worked for GM doing like lemon law settlement. So like someone threatens to sue us, and I would throw a bunch of money at them. Sometimes we'd like buy back their whole car. If you guys want to figure out how to get a free car every 3 years, talk to me. Because every car company does this. All you got to do is be like, hey, the seat doesn't go back the way I want it to, or whatever. And if you take it in a few times, then it qualifies as a lemon by law in Michigan. And companies don't want to get sued because it costs more to defend it.
That's amazing.
So they'll just throw money at you. So yeah, if you want to figure out how to, I mean, we could probably get a few $1,000s a piece, like just from trying. So I don't know. It's an option.
So instead of flipping cars, your idea is to buy new, literally not use them outside of, say, my window doesn't roll down fast enough, and then get the money at the end.
No. You can drive it into the ground. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, good.
You drive it into the ground, but just every like 4 months, take it in and be like, the infotainment screen cut out when I was driving. They'll never be able to replicate it or prove that you're lying. And I'm giving a lot of really bad legal advice.
I was going to say, this seems to be...
I'm not a lawyer, and this is probably fraud if you do it. So if you go do
Well, it's definitely fraud, man. I want to stop you there. That is definitely fraud.
Well, one thing I learned in law school, never speak in legal terms of absolutes. So I don't want to say it's definitely fraud. I'm just saying it probably is fraud. So I don't think anyone should do this. But this is what it felt like we were seeing people do, because you'd be like, okay, man, I'm going to give you a bunch of money so you don't sue us over your screen cutting out twice. Whatever.
So how much would that person, hypothetically, of course, get?
Well, I did have direct settlement authority up to $15,000, where I didn't have to ask anybody, and I could just write a check for $15,000.
Just to get them off of your back.
Just to get them off our back. I also had authority to do a repurchase of a vehicle, where we would give you, like, if you made 5 years worth of car payments, we would give you 5 years worth of car payments back and everything. I could do that up to $50,000. So I mean, they're writing big checks here.
So say I have a car, I got the new Chevy whatever.
Sure.
And like Kyle said, the window doesn't work. I drive it for a couple of years, but every couple months I go in and say, hey, the window's not working again. Oh, it is now. That's weird. Okay. Keep bringing it back. At some point, this scheme, not scam, scheme isn't going to work anymore, right? Like, what if I have the car fully paid off?
You'd think, but because it's all legal terms, when it started, that kind of starts the clock. And so you have a statute of limitations that you can go back and sue somebody for. So in Michigan, it's 3 years. So even though it has been resolved and or like it just hasn't been an issue for a few years, if you're coming up on the statute of limitations, we'd see people get it in where we'd be like, this is obvious, like a lawyer or someone who knows a lawyer, someone who knows someone who missed the bar by 5 points, whatever, and getting a little coaching. So yeah, you'd see it, but I mean, there were some legitimate ones where we're like, well, you just bought a new car and we can't figure out why the right turn signal will never come on. I guess we owe you a new one. Whatever.
Man, just think about like you just walk outside and your new SUV's there because your blinker didn't work.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Now,
and you got a stack of cash in your hand too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, and this is for your trouble. My wife is a nurse, Matt, and so I think repeat customer is kind of the expression you can use in today's day and age where people kind of figure a system out. In the time you've been doing this job, have you seen any repeat customers where it's like, hey, this is the third vehicle for so-and-so?
Oh, yeah. Well, just to clarify, too, I got fired from that because I wasn't good at that either. So I'm not there anymore.
Maybe it's because you were a little playing a little fast and loose with the checkbook.
Maybe when they told you authority to write a check, that didn't mean do it every time.
Yeah, they were like, somehow everyone on Matt's Facebook friends list just got a new car while he's been here. I don't know what's going on.
How did that conversation go when they called you in? Matt, come on in here for a minute. We got to talk.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just like, you're not really keeping up with your work here. We're going to let you go. So, all right, I get it. But, yeah, we saw some people that came back a few times where it was a known frequent flyer where you're like, you're on your third new Escalade, but we got to do it because it costs more to sue us. So congratulations, sir.
All right. So this brings us up. Where are we on the timeline now? So when was that job?
Well, that was during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. I left that job. Well, they told me to leave that job in October last year. So that was after that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a little time off, hang out a bit. I did some snowboarding out in Colorado. And then just started doing immigration work for another staffing company. So
now work meaning what? Now because you're what's the term used for you? Lawyer adjacent?
JD preferred.
Okay, that's right.
Adjacent. Yeah. So same thing where I'm processing visas for foreign nationals coming over that are already here working. So I really like that one because it gets to my Republican uncles who are like, these damn foreigners coming in taking our jobs. I'm like, I know, man. I'm helping them do their paperwork. Making sure they're here compliant taking those jobs. So that's a fun one to bust out at like and everything. So no, that one, it's pretty cool. It's a nice little mix. I don't it kind of reminds me of the last job a little bit where it's like that, you know, legal quasi whatever. But I'm not like working against lawyers yelling at me all day. So that part's pretty nice. There's no stress to it. So yeah, it's just a nice little chill job that helps pay the bills for now with my medical retirement. So.
Well, and you're actually helping. And you know, instead of asking drunks, how long you willing to do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the first time where I feel like some bit of legal expertise I have is going to a benefit for somebody. So not just ripping off the system or keeping a Fortune 50 company from losing a little bit of money. Right. So that's nice.
Yeah. Do you foresee staying here for until you're ready to leave, as opposed to when they're ready for you to leave?
Yeah, I want to try that out. I've been fired from 2 jobs since I got my law degree, legal recruiting and the job at GM. So I'm hoping that this one I get to stick around for a little bit. I don't know, man. It's just weird, like sitting in an office for me. It's not something that like I ever really thought I'd be doing. You know, I always had these like weird jobs where I was meeting new people outside, different day or whatever. I think that's what attracted me to radio and working with you idiots back in the day. Because like this is just a group of people that goof around and I don't have to be serious. And now I sit down and I got to be serious and it freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That would be one of the biggest, the biggest changes I would think.
Yeah. It's quite jarring.
Yeah. Going from a radio atmosphere to being a lawyer. Can't imagine.
Yeah. Which I think that's what has really pushed me to start doing stand-up comedy. I started doing that.
Yeah. Tell us about this. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's, it's something that I've always wanted to do. And, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I took a class at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak. It's like the big comedy club over here. And I loved it and then just like stopped doing it after that and started law school. And I was still married at the time and everything. And so yeah, like during the pandemic, I was just bored and like writing jokes. So I was like, I want to do this. And once like, I think it was part of it too. Like I felt like it was kind of easy for me to say I'm going to do it because the option I felt like wasn't there because of the pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, so like I started looking around for where to do it. And I was like, well, there are a bunch of places doing like outdoor shows and stuff right now. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to try. So I went out and just started doing it. And, it's going pretty well. I actually I did a show in Las Vegas last week while I was out there visiting and got paid to do it, which blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe a stranger gave me $20 to tell my dumb butt jokes for 10 minutes.
So was that the first income from it, or have you made...
Yeah, it was the first time I got paid. I framed it and put it up at my house. I was like, this is going to motivate me. Stay humble. This is eventually, if I just do like 200 of these a month, it'll pay the bills.
Sure, yeah. So, yeah. Or if things get really bad, you can just break that glass and you got $20.
Dude, I had that same thought. I was like, I wonder how long till I'm taking this out and spending it on actual groceries or something.
You just have an empty frame up on the wall.
Yeah. I was like, this is an emblematic of my dreams.
Yeah, with a fist mark in it. Because he literally punched it to get it out. Yeah. Now, if you could, Matt, can you put us in your shoes? Because you did military time, you were on the radio, but you have a law degree, you worked in a courtroom. So put us in your shoes the first time you get the nerve, outdoor show, whatever it is, you're up there about to take the stage to tell your jokes.
I don't remember anything what I was thinking. It was so fast. It was a blur. Like I remember it kind of reminded me of the first time where I was on air on the radio, but I felt so much more pressure in just that, like, there's no one to bail me out here. There's nobody. If I completely fart on the mic here, it's just me.
Plus, there's people staring at you. I mean, at least on the radio, there's that anonymity because there's 4 other people in the room. So if you screw up, it's like, all right, I screwed up with a bunch of my friends in the room, no big deal. But I mean, how many people were there, and how long was your first set?
That's the good thing is the first set was only 5 minutes, and it was maybe for about the same amount of people that saw me talk on air at the same time.
All right.
It was a very small show at like a bar just in like the back parking lot,
yeah.
Which it's been a lot of that, like a tent out back, someone's house, like stuff like that. And so it definitely nerve-wracking. I remember like I did a bad joke about like something my girlfriend said when we were having sex, and it sounded like it was an assault or something. And I was like, that came out wrong. I didn't mean for it to be that way. So it definitely wasn't a good set. But it's working out, refining and adapting, learning how things should sound and how they shouldn't.
But, kind of compare those two. When you walked off of there, what was it like? Do you have any comparison in your life for that feeling when you were done and you heard 4 people semi-clap or say good job?
Yeah, so the getting a laugh, because I did get a couple laughs the first time, and I was like, oh, that feels really, really good. I like that a lot.
It feels like that's what every comedian says. Like every comedian talks about how that's their drug. That's what...
Yeah. For sure. And I've bombed so hard where nobody laughed for 5 minutes and wanted to go die out back. And as bad as that felt, it will never feel as good as the times where I felt like I killed. And all right, like the good will outweigh the bad every time. So like it will definitely bring you back.
I'd imagine that's got to be kind of humbling because no doubt when you're writing when you're sitting down to write a joke, granted, I've never done that before, but I would imagine that the process is fairly similar for everybody. Like, okay, here's my setup. Here's my delivery. Here's the punchline. Now I'm just going to pause for 20, 30 seconds for the laughter.
Yeah. Dude, it's so funny the difference of how you build it up. Like, have you guys seen Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm worried. Like, there are times where I'm like, am I this delusional where I'm like building up in my head where I'm like walking out on like the Tonight Show. I'm like, oh, everyone loves me. And like this stuff that I thought was going to murder just dies on me. And it happens all the time. But you just like, and some of it, like, you just die enough times and eat it enough times that you figure out how to make what you thought was going to be funny work. Like, it's just a dumb thought in my head until I say it enough to make it work. So
yeah,
it's just the repetition of it.
Sure. This is putting you on the spot, and feel free to deflect away.
Sure.
Is there one you remember, whether you wrote it down, whether you say, I'm going to bust this out if the crowd is right, that you thought was just going to crush it? That you said it, you felt the air leave the balloon, and you walked off and said, I'm never saying it again. Do you remember any in particular?
Oh, man. Not that I'm never going to say again. I've got a few that I feel like are funny. I just don't know how to make them work.
Like there's like all the pieces are there, maybe just not in the right order or the right spot.
Like, I don't know why we're giving Elon Musk the keys to space. Like, he's a nerd that has been bullied his entire life and figured out how to make it easier to pay for internet porn. And for some reason, we're going to let him be the one who handles like all of our space infrastructure. And I just feel like it's going to blow up in our faces one day where like he's going to fly off to his space lab and like turn the lights out on us and just be like, bye nerds.
See you later.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere. And I told that on stage and everyone was just like, okay. And like, that was it. And I was like, wait, that's supposed to be funny. Why aren't you laughing? He's a nerd. And we let him, and they're like, well, who else is going to do it? He's a nerd. Of course he is. So I don't know.
You're like, good point. Good point.
You know, I'll take that under advisement.
Yeah, you take out your notebook and write it down.
That, like, stay in your lane, man. Host SNL and like meme out on Dogecoin or whatever, or like be a scientist. I can't handle you being both. And so I think that's what's weirding me out.
What was the process like for those first few times? I mean, you don't really want the embarrassment of going out there with a little notepad in your hand. Did you have stuff written on your hand in case you forgot where you were?
No, I still take a notepad up.
Do you really?
Even on my paid show where like I just set it down and I mean I'm not like staring at it, but every now and then like in between jokes I'll just take a look down to make sure that I haven't like missed anything or whatever. But that's the tough thing. Like here in Michigan, it's a pretty good scene. Like I did an open mic last night with 80 comics on it. It's got to be one of the biggest open mics in the Midwest. Like there's I've never heard of one even being like half
80.
as big.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a speed round, man. They start at 7 and they'll go till the bar kicks us out. And so you get time, but you don't get that like repetition like you get in like New York, Chicago, LA, where you can do 10 spots in a night. That might be like a whole like 2 weeks worth of work for me.
Sure.
So it's tough to like, I wish that I could do like 3 or 4 in a night where like you start off with an idea and it doesn't work exactly right and you can immediately go up and tweak it. Otherwise I'm just like going home and trying to rewrite it. And then it's like the same issue of, okay, well I think that works, but I don't know it does. I got to go try it.
Right.
And so that's been the biggest hurdle with, still needing notes and just like tweaking a little bit, but not getting to try it again for a little while. But I mean, it's working. So
that's crazy to think that you could do 8 or 10 of those a night in certain cities. Man. Oh my God. That gives me such anxiety. It's not even funny.
Do you have anything that you do now? Everybody remembers Bill Goldberg from WCW before he'd go out for his match. Matt, you remember he would smack his head into the door. And you hear stories about like NFL players who, still, hey, before every game, I would vomit everywhere. Do you have anything that you had to do or that your body made you do before you'd go out because of nerves?
I sit in the back by myself. Like, I don't know how these comics like hang out and drink and like BS with each other and stuff because I'm just like, I feel like I'm getting ready to like play high school football again or something where I'm like, just so nervous and like worried that I'm gonna screw up and that everyone's gonna see me mess up or whatever, that I'm like just sitting there by myself trying to remember everything I want to do, reading my notes. I definitely don't drink beforehand. Not that I'm a professional. I mean, you guys know I get fired from every job I have, but I'm trying to do this somewhat professionally and not make it just a big goof around that some guys can make it. But I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of your style that whatever works for you. So yeah, I definitely just kind of like separate myself from everyone and focus.
All right. Do you have? It feels weird to say this to you. Got any gigs? Got any gigs you can? Any upcoming spots you can promote?
Yeah, I'm doing a show tonight, actually, over in beautiful Roseville, Michigan, at Grashit Pub. Make it if you can. This isn't live; no one will hear it till after it's done.
Yeah, they're not going to hear this until they're not going to hear this for another week.
Okay, well, I'm sure I killed. I don't know. I wish that I would have had a few more things lined up. I've been traveling a little bit, so I don't have anything. But I've been doing stuff over on the west side of the state quite a bit. Like once a month, I'll get out there. Mahala Cafe. I don't know. It's nothing you guys have heard of, I'm sure, because like for us to even find spots to do, a lot of times it's like, hey, my buddy's got a coffee bar or whatever. They'll let us do an open mic for an hour and a half on a Tuesday night at 8. So like that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of that. And then every now and then I'll get booked on a show like the one I did in Vegas where it's like really well promoted and there's a flyer and everything for it, which it blows my mind still. Or like even afterwards when people like complete strangers come up to me and they're like, hey man, you're really funny, and like shake my hand. They're like, what's your name, what's your Instagram and stuff. I'm like, this is just crazy to me that like anyone is interested in this at all. So
that's awesome though, man. That's how it starts.
That's what we were going to ask too, is where can people find you and follow you and to keep up with where you're going and everything for comedy.
So I'm on Instagram at The Real Matt Daddy. That's definitely a work in progress. And like I said, it feels so new and weird to me to be like, hey, everyone, come check me out. So like it's been like this anxiety hurdle that I've had to like promote myself a little bit. Cause it almost feels weird to me to be like, I'm funny, come watch me. But it's it's what you got to do. So I think that I'm funny, come watch me. It's at The Real Matt Daddy, and Facebook, just at Matt Wolf. I post a lot of pictures of my dog, Gary Busey. He's a big fluffy golden retriever. So, yeah.
Listen, man, you said you're over on the west side relatively often. We've got to get you in here with us. Sit down with us for an hour and a half and have some fun. I'd love to come out and see you, too. So please be in touch and let me know and let Steve know. And maybe we can organize and we can come out and watch you one night.
That'd be great.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just did a set in Vegas. It was the first time I've done a set in front of people I knew. And it went well. I was so nervous to do it in front of people and bomb that I wouldn't tell anybody I was doing it that I knew. I'd rather do it for a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
And when I had friends out, I was like, "Wait, no, they already like you. Like it was a warm audience."
Yeah, exactly. They're it's friendlies.
Yeah, so I'll for sure let you guys know. You guys come check me out and have me in whenever you want. I'd love to. Yeah,
that'd be great, man.
Fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, man.
Dude, it was awesome to catch up with you.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, here's Gary Busey. I'll give you a quick look. He's just begging for some attention.
Let me get. He's probably been sitting there like that the entire time too, right?
For sure. Yeah, he's so thirsty. He just loves the attention. So.
All right, man. It was great to talk to you.
Awesome, guys. Talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
All right, that was Instagram at
The Real Matt Daddy.
The Real Matt Daddy.
Yeah, that's probably the best avenue to find him. I think it's not like a fan page on Facebook, so I don't know if we want whoever listens to this to go friend a random person on Facebook.
God, that was fun to catch up with him.
It's weird because you're not trying to do an internship at the side gig if you don't have an interest in comedy or you don't like laughing or you don't think you're a little bit funny, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there have been plenty of interns like you were interested in getting into the business.
Sure.
But I would say that there have been just as many who haven't had any interest in getting into the business, but liked the show.
Sure.
And thought that would be a fun internship, needed some college credits, and did it. So it shouldn't be as surprising as it is to see one of our former interns go into comedy at all. Like, it shouldn't. And just talking to Matt, he's going to be a great stand-up comedian because he's able to communicate. Like, there's no awkward pauses, there's no dull moments or whatever. Like, he's somebody who just kind of naturally keeps the conversation going and is a funny dude. So
and he was funny when he was an intern, and when he was an intern I was working there, so it's not like
you're the elder statesman.
I had seniority in the group, so I made him do stupid stuff like again, stick his foot in a bucket and walk into a door where he got hit in the and then sit on a whoopee cushion. Real big hijinks that we were pulling on Matt. But no, he was funny. We asked. I wanted him on a little off topic because he was funny. And there was that separation. There were interns that I don't even remember their names, Steve, because like you said, they were just there because they thought it was funny to watch and be closer to the product they had listened to. But no, that was outstanding, and I am dead serious. I would love to have him sit here with us.
I would absolutely go and see him
for an hour.
Go sit and have a beer with him. That would be a blast.
That's one of the more fascinating careers for me. in terms of questions. I could ask him a million questions.
I mean, look, he's like freaking Forrest Gump, man. He's done pretty much everything. So he was in med school, decided, nah. Then he decided to be a lawyer. That didn't work out. Working for the public defender, doing a car scam apparently with GM where he just gives people free cars. Right. Now he's doing immigration and stand-up comedy.
And this was all after he served time in the military.
Right, yeah.
So it's quite a winding trail he's wound there. And I think he's a great story. He's fantastic to talk to. And again, million questions about the process for stand-up comedians. I find it so fascinating how those creatives work and how they manufacture that.
It's such a foreign thing to me, and I bet if you asked 100 comedians the same question, you'd get 100 different answers. It's nuts.
It's one of my dreams, Steve.
To do a set?
To do it. One of my dreams. All-time dreams. But I don't know that I can get past the nerves.
Need a joke writing partner? I could be your ghostwriter.
Do you know someone?
I bet I do. I bet of all the people in the world I know, I'm sure one of them could write a good knock-knock joke or something.
I bet there is. No, that was outstanding. Thank you, Matt. Again, at The Real Matt Daddy on Instagram. Follow him there.
That was a lot of fun. At Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Again, this was kind of a weird episode. We didn't do a lot of the stuff we wanted to do, but we're under a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah.
But still wanted to get this episode recorded so we don't break the streak once again because, neither of us have boo-boos.
Yep. We already have a full episode for next week, so be sure to stay tuned. We've got to talk about Steve, self-fulfilling prophecy of being the cul-de-sac trash.
Yeah.
Got to get Brother Mike on the phone to talk Little Italy.
Little Italy.
To talk a Little Italy is the way that was supposed to come out.
Not like...
But not the spot in one of the New York boroughs, Little Italy, no.
Right. All right. At Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.